Okay, good morning. Hello, everybody. Carl-Johan Linnér here, CEO at SaltX Technology Holding AB. It's time for the year-end report, Q4 2019. To my right-hand side here is Harald Bauer, CFO also, and we intend to show you some updated information and figures and pictures here. We also know that there will be a lot of questions. We have had the Swedish presentation recently, and there was a lot of questions. So we'll have some time to do that also. But we get started here, and some of the pictures you might have seen before, but they are updated at least, and some of you people that are calling in maybe see those pictures for the first time. But this is SaltX. We are a company that are developing values and for the storage energy and industry. We are basing our company on 3 patent families, and we have decided since almost a year ago now to focus on large-scale energy storages. We have actually closed down the 3 other business areas that we were working with, and so that we are really focusing now on storage, thermochemical storage on large scale. We have 15 senior staff people, and in addition of that, we also have some very skilled consultants that we are working together with, and also a lot of good institutes, Stockholm University, University in Munich, and other organizations also. The number of shareholders has gone up a little bit since last year, and the reason for that was that we managed the money intake as we did last year, and Harald will come back to that later on also. We are talking from time to time to this peak shifting need, and this is more value than ever before. I think today now we have, for the first time in Sweden, we have seen that the electricity price actually turned negative for a short time, yes, but still it was negative for a certain time, and that has never ever happened before. And the reason for that is, of course, that we have a high installed capacity now of wind power in Sweden, and the rest of the world also, of course. But it was actually a breakthrough news that it was negative here. And then you would have dreamed about to have an energy storage package in place, utilizing these negative prices, charging the battery, charging the salt, and discharging it when the electricity price was high. That's from the business point of view, but also from an environmental point of view, it's good to take care of those good situations as we do have. And we have earlier talked about other wind parks. For this picture, we talked about Scotland, we talked about in other areas, and there are some people are looking into the opportunities now in the northern part of Sweden, also in Luleå, and other all those big wind parks that are getting installed all over the places. The market, we have shown you this picture before, I think, and the market is predicted to be very strong for us. And we can see here a graph from 2018 up to 2040. It's a long time, and we see that we are in the beginning of a journey here with storages deployments. And we also know that there are 8 applications in these graphs. There's the excluded pumped hydro, and there is no transportable batteries at all in those figures here. And we are, of course, aiming to get a part of this cake here into our technology. But for sure, there will also be most likely other technologies and other opportunities that will come up on the journey here. but we see that we are on the right spot. We are in the future really looks bright from that point of view. We also see that the lithium-ion battery is, of course, dominating the storage here. And then you can say that the lithium-ion battery is very suitable for charging and discharging in a pretty frequent way and fast way. And we are more talking about days, weeks, and months, maybe, of charging and discharging. So there is no competition really between lithium-ion and our technology. We see ourselves as more as a complement to each other. What makes SaltX different? And this is a picture that actually summarizes the whole company. I just love this picture here because it's so good. You start from the left-hand upside corner. It's the temperature that we can use high temperature for steam electricity generation. By using the high temperature, we are efficient doing that. We have a very good density between 500 and 600 kilowatt per ton compared to concrete and to other storage materials. I will show you later on. We are in another division here. Independently scalable storage time and charging devices can be scalable independently. We might see a small limitation on the smaller sizes. So what we're looking into here is the Berlin size and upwards to be economical benefits. To the right-hand side, then up in the corner, we have a new bullet, which is transportable. And this is something that we have actually received a lot of questions about and a lot of responses when we are out talking about our technology. Can you transport the energy? And technically, yes, we can do it. And we are looking into this possibility right now. We feel that it could strengthen our unique selling points, and we can be even more creating more values in this case. But it's too early to say any details here, but you should all know that we are looking into this seriously now, and we hopefully we will come up with some more news next time. The thermochemical technology makes it possible for storage energy for months. Of course, there is an economical breakthrough somewhere that you don't make a lot of, you don't make an investments for charging and discharging if you don't utilize it. But depending on the business case, we can technically store it up to 6 months, 12 months actually. That's all natural. The SaltX material is environmentally friendly, and we all know the story about the lithium-ion battery, that the raw material is getting maybe people speculating about it's going to be a bottleneck in the future for the raw material. We have a lot of salt out there that we could use, which is not very natural also, and it's robust. And it's the good thing with it also that it's very suitable for that doesn't corrode at all. So we can use more price economical material when we built the installations. And economical with low system complexity. We need to look in not only the storages, we can do the heat, we can do the electricity, we can do a lot of things, very much depending on the application that we are looking into. So we are not any product that we take from the shelf, really. We are looking into a tailor-made based on the technology, of course. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bullets that are summarizing why SaltX is different. This is the picture I have on my fridge at home, you know, so I see it every morning. Different technologies and energy density. Here you see that we have put, some of you recognize this picture maybe, and the blue for SaltX, that is the non-sensible density, which is slightly above 400 kilowatt hours per ton. On the top, we have added actually the sensible part of it, which is fair to do when you compare it with the other technologies. So if you look on the concrete, for instance, we know that Siemens Gamesa have built a 1,000 ton installation based on vulcan stone, and it's huge, and it needs to be huge because of the density that they have in this situation. So we think that we have a unique situation here, and which is very good. The Berlin plant you probably heard about, and this is something that we actually opened up in the middle of April last year. And since that, we have verified that the technology is working. There is no agglomeration, and that was the whole idea, that we should do the test and the run in a full scale. And it's been a lot of, honestly, blood, sweat, and tears to get this installation up and running. But we did it. We did it with a heating screw, spiral joules, we call it, in the charging and also discharging. And we have what we called an important measurement of the efficiency is actually the heat transfer coefficient, which is 20 to 30 watt per square meter Kelvin. I will come back to that later on, why that is important. The efficiency, round trip efficiency, as we talked about in Berlin, we came up to 85%, which is pretty close to the maximum theoretical efficiency that we can reach. But remember again, it's for those who have seen the installation, it's quite big, but when it comes to the power output, it's 0.5 megawatt thermal only. And in our strategy, we are looking on the bigger size, going upwards in the scale here. They can say that the Berlin plant today is not utilized in a high way. We are charging some salt, so on, but we are not using it at the moment, because we are in the middle of expecting some financial support from the Swedish government here, and we also support from talking to Vattenfall what we should do about this thing here. What we want to do is that we want to replace the spiral joule in hydration with a fluidized bed. Why do we want fluidized bed? Well, we talked about that also, and you see it on this page, which is our main focus right now. If you look on the fixed bed, it's 20 to 30 watt per square meter Kelvin here, and we want to go up to the fluidized bed, which is about factor 10 times more efficient. And that means that we will come down in size of the storage plant, and we also be more efficient. So reactor cost will come down and the efficiency will come up, which is a normal next step in this development. And here we are really making a lot of efforts now. We are in a cooperation with the university in Munich in Germany, that they have made a lot of tests in fluidized bed. We have built our own test rig here in Stockholm, one warm and one cold fluidized bed, and we have been able to verify the fluidized bed values here, 200 to 300 watt per square meter Kelvin. So we are talking to the institutes, Stockholm University, Munich, but we're happy to say that we have working with one of the best people in this area, on a consulting basis. They are helping us, and we are building knowledge, a lot of knowledge in this area here when it comes to particle size, speed of the bed, dimensions, how would it look like. And the reason why we are doing this is actually that we want to come further on in the value chain. We want to be more, we want to offer the market, we want to offer to our partners that this is the kit. A kit consists of the nanocoated salt together with the fluidized bed. Use this bed and you could be able to plug it in and build the storage. So I'm stopping a little bit at this picture now because I want just to underline, to tell you that we have spent a lot of time and efforts and focus into this area. In Berlin, we bought the spiral joule and we put it in, and we had some issues there, mechanical issues that we didn't, that we had we had some issues that we managed to overcome, but still there was some issues. Here we want to do this at home. We want to find a really good prototype that we could utilize in the full scale. And one of the solutions is that we will change the spiral joule in Berlin, hydration spiral joule, to a fluidized bed. That's the plan. We had, at the end of last year, we had visits in Berlin from Mr. Toru Okazaki, who is working for the Japanese government. And he had the task, and he still has maybe, to find out the energy storage technology level in the world. And he was actually focusing on Europe. And this is the applications, and these are the places that he shared with us that he found. And he was actually quite impressed by the installation that we have done in Berlin in such a full scale, and it's up and running, and it's real. He said it's real, and it's working. And the listed customers here and so on is there's no priority. It's just a list, and as you can see, we are on the fourth place here, Vattenfall, SaltX. And this is very good. We got very encouraged, and we got very happy to get this information. So we are in the front. There are a lot of competitors to us that are more closer to a startup company, and we think that we are ahead of them. But we have to maintain that distance. We have to continue, of course, the journey here. The ecosystem looks like this. You have seen that before, I guess. The SaltX producer, Nordkalk and Wacker, supply the salt to us. It's a special type of salt. It needs to be clean and all the things. And the Wacker supply us the nano coating issues. On the top, we see the OEM, original equipment manufacturers. It's mainly the reactor producers that we are talking to, and the consultants and helping us there. And the equipment procurement constructions, the EPCs, are the installers of the energy storage plant. They are the partners to us. And the off-takers, they are the users. Sometimes it could be the same, the EPC and the off-takers. And you see from the next page that we are still on those three areas: Germany, Spain, and China. Germany, we have an agreement with Steinmüller Engineering. They are making the progress and planning for the storages. We have Inerco in Spain that are maybe a couple of steps ahead of Steinmüller. That's our feeling when it comes to the design and promoting this technology to the market. And we have China, the water boiling company Shanglian, who is actually finalizing the technical design review on this application, and they are building a pretty small installation, 50 kilowatt inside Shanglian as a pilot. But they will use the fluid as bed, but they will also probably use some own type of reactor also. And this is very good, we think, because we get a lot of input from the three parties that we have with various technical solutions. But again, our contribution to this discussion is the fluid as bed competence and knowledge and solutions, and all three of them will use the fluid as bed in the hydration application, discharging. But we would of course dream and the vision and the goal, ideal situation will be that those partners will run quicker, but it takes time to find the off-takers, and the off-takers we are trying to work together with the partners hand in hand to find them, but it takes time because it's a heavy investments we are talking about here, and people want to see the payoff with it. But we will be there, that's for sure. That was the figures, and Harald, I hand over to you.
Hello, good morning. A few quick questions on financials, revenue, cost, and cash. When we begin with net sales, you see that we have a rather low net sales for the year, and that had to do with something that happened in Q1, that we had to reverse revenue recorded in earlier periods, and that never led to what was expected, and therefore it was reversed. That was, however, compensated in Q4 with some additional revenue related to now retired applications. We still had some invoicing to do for work performed for American technical institutions. That's on revenue. On cost, it doesn't appear on this summary, but reading the report, you can see that as a consequence of our focus on energy storage, we have reduced employees, and therefore costs have come down quarter over quarter. However, though, going forward in Q4, we have done a few recruitments, and we have planned to do a few more leading into 2020. Not at all a large expansion, but to complement our organization with additional competence and resources, we will do some expansions. But of course, keep good control of our costs so we know what's going on. That leads us then into, as costs are higher than revenue, to financing. And we were successful with our rights issue at the end of 2019, and we were pleased and proud over the support of our shareholders. Thank you very much for those of you who are present here. And we began the year 2020 with 85 million crowns in the bank, and that will take us well into 2021, so some 15, 18 months forward. And we will complement that with, of course, whatever we can generate ourselves. And in addition to that, you know that we've been supported with public funding in the past, and we continue that, particularly with the Swedish State Energy Agency, and as well as then support from our partners in kind, that is, that they will provide support in designing and erecting equipment components to go into our storage facilities, but also cash. And that's what we are seeking. And that pretty much concludes what we wanted to say on financials. Next page is just a summary of what happened in Q4, and one important factor was the rights issue, and then of course that we complemented the two, now three partners that are planning to help us with pre-commercial installations, the Shuangliang agreement, the Chinese partner. And that then brings us to Q&As.
Yes, Eric.
Let's see here.
Question comes from Freddie. Do I understand correctly now that the fluid as bed has already been confirmed to be working and to be better than the existing screw? Is there a reason why Berlin plant would not want to upgrade to that? How long would it take to install and to get results of that full scale? Lot of questions about a fluid as bed. I think it's too early to say that it has been confirmed. We have the preliminary figures from we have the figures from Munich. That's pretty clear, and we have the figures from our own test rig. Yes, but what needs to be done is that we need to confirm it in the full scale test also, and that we have. I think we have learned from the history that we don't want to make it to write this in stone before we actually have made a full scale test. Is there a reason why the Berlin plant would not want to upgrade it? No, we want to have an engagement from Vattenfall in this case here. We want them to be heavily involved in this installation, but it's pretty much common sense that we have a full scale test rig in Berlin. It's there, and it's I shouldn't say it's easier, but it's compared to building a new one, it's easier to replace the existing hydration screw with a fluid as bed. Yes, but the decision has not been taken yet, but we hope that we will be able to communicate that in the near future. How long time will it take to install and get the result in a full scale? The installation time, I'm certainly not an expert in making judging about that. I think there's a lot of connections that needs to be done. I would guess it will take, Harald, what do you think, 3 months to do an installation? But don't take me on the words here. The good thing is that it goes much quicker than making a new pilot installation, at least.
I can take the next question. Can we expect any news in Q1? Rest assured that when there are news, we will communicate it. And I must say that as we were previously running 4 different application areas, there were more frequently that we had reasons to come out with news. And also possibly one could criticize us for being too ambitious at the time. So it's not that we're holding back news. We will provide news when there is news, both in the form of press releases as well as with continuous reporting in the form of newsletters and on social media and elsewhere, and of course the compulsory quarterly reports. So if there will be news in Q1, we will live to see.
There's a question about in Berlin that the plant only showed heat energy, where you're not supposed to produce electricity also from Berlin plant. The installation in Berlin was supposed to deliver heat into the district heating system, and we did that at the level of 100 degrees Celsius. For sure, we can produce electricity via a turbine, of course, but in this application in Berlin, we did not do that. We didn't utilize that.
A question, how's the SaltX mechanical stability? Can the crystals break easily? The whole idea is the exchange, that is to load the salt with heat and then be able to extract the heat again in the way of hot water that is vapor. And the beauty is that the crystals should remain in sand format or even powder format. That is, as much surface as possible should be exposed for the heat in the beginning, and then release that energy when we are reversing the process. And one of the important factors in this process is, of course, the fact that we have nano-coated the salt to keep it in small particles as possible. Yes.
Well, there's a question about graphene coming up here. I can see that, and we can tell you that the graphene project is running in cooperation with Ahlström Munksjö here in Sweden, and they are very interesting in this project. We are, however, talking into the area now of using a possibility is to utilize the graphene project to smaller energy storage applications. And the reason for that is that actually the name of the technology and the physical size of it. So as you all know, we have taken the decision that we should go in big sizes and scalable upwards. And it could be, I say, I'm not saying it will be, but it could be the way that we are focusing on a smaller scale with a graphene product and we do a sort of a differentiation here on the market. But we'll come back to that later on.
We see that there are no more questions on the chat. Are there any other questions we would like? We had a few questions on the Swedish side. But if there are no questions, there are no questions.
We had a question from the Swedish session that how is it going with the partners, and do you feel that it was a good way to work together with the partners? We still believe that it was the right decision to go with the partners. As always, I could maybe say that you think that they should go quicker than the reality is that we have a lot of respect for our partner situation, and they are in the various positions. We know that in Arco, for instance, they had a big order stock of coal plants that they should be building, but more or less over the night this order stock was cancelled because of the decisions from the government in Spain. And of course they are more hungry to get more business quicker than maybe some others are. We are certainly depending very much on the reactor producers technology, but also on the partners technology and customer base. But we need the strategy we have is really, as I probably said, is really to come further up in the value chain and to be able to deliver some sort of reactor together with the salt, verified by ourselves, but also verified by a third party.
Okay.
All right. Then we are right in time, and I suggest that we would like to thank you very much for your interest and calling in. And the next time we maybe hear from each other is
at the beginning of May, when we will release our Q1 report, but you will certainly hear from us before then also through different materials that we are issuing. And there will be at the annual, the shareholders meeting also end of April.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for listening, and have a nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.